We now present The Big Interview, in which host Phil Williams speaks to Ann Cleeves. This interview was originally broadcast on BBC Radio 5 Live on the 9th of February 2016.
Time for our big Tuesday night interview tonight, which is with the creator of not one but two hit TV detective franchises based on the books of Ann Cleeves, whose latest Shetland thriller came out last week, and is part of a series of shorter books called Quick Reads, aimed at encouraging you to get back into reading. Too Good to Be True is the latest, which features Shetland detective Jimmy Perez. And like the others in the series, Jimmy Perez prevalent in this new Quick Reads book.
Quick Reads project is to encourage people who might be new to reading or maybe have lapsed with their reading or have English as a foreign language to just tempt them back into reading for pleasure. Because lots of people who maybe struggle with literacy, if you go to basic skills classes, it's quite boring sometimes because the emphasis is perhaps on functional literacy. And what we're really about, what the Galaxy Quick Reads are about reading for pleasure and getting a story down. And each year, Quick Reads commission, I think, 6 titles, and Too Good to Be True is one of them this year.
That's a really interesting point you raised there, because I did English literature to A-level, and I found at A-level, I was bored. And I know that's a disgraceful word to use when you're talking about classic pieces of literature, but I was 17 and 18 years of age, and Troilus and Cressida and whatever else was on the syllabus at those days just bored me. And it's only in the last 5 years, and I've started reading crime fiction in particular for pleasure, and I adore it now. Yeah,
they're such good stories, aren't they? I think that's why I love writing them, because you can put so much into crime fiction. It covers such a wide range of relationships and possibilities, but the story has to be pacey, and people want to know. They want to know what's going to happen next.
It's funny, isn't it? Because with both of your pieces of work that we see on TV at the moment, Vera and Shetland, both of them are what I would say very classically English, which is a compliment, by the way. And yet we are, the British, we are obsessed with murders, aren't we? I mean, even, we go back to Agatha Christie or whatever, it doesn't matter how, it doesn't have to be blood, guts and gore, but we don't mind a killing.
No, it's interesting. I suppose it's what everybody fears most, isn't it? So it's, and when you're writing about the aftermath of murder, it's that stress and about the result that it has on family members and on communities. And that's what I'm most interested in. Anyway, I'm not really interested in writing about monsters. What I'm interested in writing about are real people who are put under stress.
And how they respond to that
and how
stress.
they respond to that stress.
When you're talking about the, getting into reading for love again, did that have any bearing on you dropping out of your English degree? Had you fallen out of love with reading at that point, or was that not part of the decision?
No, it was a kind of youthful arrogance. I thought I could read books anywhere. I didn't really need to be at a place I didn't enjoy to read books. So
it's more to do with the institution rather than the course?
Yeah, and part of me wishes that I'd stuck it out and I might understand some of the classics a bit better. But part of me thinks that because I left, I actually read really widely after that, because I went straight from there to be assistant cook in the Bird Observatory on Fair Isle, which is
just off Shetland.
How I first went to Shetland, yes, because Fair Isle's part of the Shetland group.
So you see, like you, I'm interested in life and people and relationships. And what I find intriguing about this part of your life story is that you drop out of an English degree at Sussex University, you still go on to be a writer, so it doesn't affect that. But by going to Fair Isle, you ended up meeting your husband, didn't you?
That's right, meeting my husband, making lots of friends. That meant that I kept going back to Shetland lots of times and wrote the Shetland books that you now see on television starring Dougie Henshall.
Yeah.
So just luck, really, just amazing luck. And perhaps if I'd stuck at university, I wouldn't be a reasonably successful crime writer.
You're being very modest with the word reasonably, I tell you that. I was trying to think, can you, and I'm sure if you listening, you will, won't you, on 85058 or at BBC 5 Live, is there another author around who's had not one but two major characters dramatised on television? I can name you several that have had one, but not two, can you?
Oh, I think P.D. James, Ruth Rendell, other amazing women writers, yeah.
I mean, it's rare in the modern age, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Again, just luck. And to be picked up by such a brilliant team, because the same team make both shows, I think is just fantastic. Because, as you say, they do make very, very classy dramas.
Yeah. Well, look, we'll talk about Shetland more in a moment, but let's focus on Vera, which is on ITV1 on Sunday nights at 8 o'clock. And this is Brenda Blethyn. And a little surprise for you. Because Brenda was on 5 Live last week with my colleague Chris Warburton. So I thought I'll play you a little clip here.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, so this is Brenda on Vera.
I love her just because she doesn't try to be liked. She doesn't ask to be liked. She never looks in a mirror, obviously. you take a look at her. And she's more... And you don't know a great deal about her as well. So she's kind of intriguing in that way. And it's more... it concentrates on the case in hand, on solving the crime. And I don't think people liked her very much at all from that first episode, the pilot. But because Joe Ashworth, the sidekick, really liked her and respected her, even though they had their differences, people got to like her sort of via him, because he was drop-dead gorgeous. As is Kenny Doughty. I can't believe my luck, actually, when I go to work sometimes. You've got John Morrison.
All those beautiful men, the Northumberland countryside.
Yeah, lovely. Do it for nothing.
What do you make of that? You need to renegotiate your fees.
Oh, she's brilliant, isn't she? And what's great is that her Vera is very much the Vera of the books, I think. She's so respectful of the source material. The new book, my new big novel, The Mothcatcher, is dedicated to Brenda because she's just such a fantastic actress.
Now, I was reading a really interesting thing, funnily enough, just last night, on how authors go about doing TV deals. And Stephen King was quoted in this piece, and he says that what he does is he will sell the rights for just $1, but he will insist on choice of lead cast, choice of director, and choice of screenplay writer. And how did you handle it?
Well, certainly not like that. It's such a difficult business. I wouldn't know where to start. I would get it all wrong. I don't have any creative input. I don't have any influence at all. Do you know how it got to be on the telly, Vera? Somebody went into an Oxfam shop looking for a holiday read and wanted something to read on the plane on the way to Spain, and it was Elaine Collins, who was books executive for ITV Studios. And that's how it got. Yeah.
When they're looking to sign it, though, Anne, do they phone you? I mean, you say you have no creative input now, but at that stage, because presumably, how many Vera books had you done when ITV phoned?
Oh, I can't remember. And they didn't. I heard second hand because Elaine's runner had been at university with my daughter. So
right, okay.
My daughter kept phoning up and saying, Ben wants to know if the rights to the Vera books are available. I said, well, why would Ben want to know that?
Yeah.
Oh, well, he just does. They obviously didn't want to raise my hopes or my expectations,
right.
So that's how I found out about it. And I get on very, very well with the production team. And my role really is to show the writers the places, because Northumberland is got such a wide variety of backgrounds. You've got the beautiful bits, the bonny coasts and the hills, but you've also got the post-industrial landscape and the ex-pit villages and the river and the city. And so my role, I think, is to take the scriptwriters round before they start and just make them aware of the huge range of backgrounds that they could be using for stories.
You're still not far from there, are you? Still in Whitley Bay?
Yeah, still live up in Whitley Bay.
So clearly both of these parts of the world where your stories are set are very special to you, and therefore I would have thought Vera as a character was special to you. Did you have any say in it being Brenda?
No, but I knew that they were going to offer the part to her and that they'd send a script to her. And I just hoped that she would say yes, because I'd seen her in quite a subversive sitcom called Outside Edge about a village cricket team, so I knew she could really do humour. And of course, she's a double Oscar nominee. She'd been up for Secrets and Lies and for Little Voice, so I knew that she was just a wonderful actor. And when they phoned to say that she'd said yes, I did have a couple of glasses of wine that night.
And what about with Shetland? Did you have any hand in the casting of that?
No, not at all. And
Do you worry about that? You know, you spend ages poring over your work and creating these characters that you love that are in extensive literary series, and then television comes in and could put anybody in the role.
Yeah, they could, and that's fine because they're not my books really anymore, are they? It's not my work. My work are the novels. And anyway, when somebody reads them, they see pictures in their head that I don't see. So every reader brings their own prejudices and their own history and their own imagination to the books. I think reading's much more creative than we give it credit for. And asking a director to do that is just taking it one stage further.
So all you do is point out the setting of the story to the production crew and then leave them to it.
Yeah, and they've chosen great writers, so that helps too. The same with Shetland. I go up to Shetland with the writers before they start each series. And this time they gave me this list of people they wanted to meet and things they wanted to see. So they wanted to go to meet a funeral director, and they wanted to go to the main Coast Guard headquarters and chat to some of the Coast Guards. And they wanted to go to the waste-to-power plant. And if you saw the end of episode 1 of Shetland...
Yes, I did.
Yeah, well, that was filmed in Lerwick in the waste-to-power plant, and we stood there, and it's very, very stinky, chatting to the guys who operate that great claw, lifting the waste into the incinerator.
So we're on, episode 3's just been on Friday night, so I don't think we're saying any spoilers now by saying that claw is where the body is found
That's right.
in episode 1.
Yeah.
And did you know those people then? Were you able to pave the way with contacts?
I didn't know the people in the waste-to-power plant, though I think they were relatives of people that I did know. So It's always possible in Shetland to get introductions.
Because it's quite a small community?
Yeah, population of 23,000 in all the islands. So.
Yes, because it's an archipelago, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. I have to say I've never been up there, Sell it to me.
Oh, it's beautiful, Shetland. It's really wild and bleak and bare. You're never more than 3.5 miles from the sea, although the main island is 60 miles long. So it's cut in with inlets and water and lochs, and it's just stunning. And if you go in the spring, it's light pretty well all night, and wildflowers everywhere, and seabirds, puffins and guillemots.
And that sense of the outdoors, I get the feeling that's really important to you, because you grew up in North Devon, didn't you?
I did, yes. I would struggle to live away from the sea now, I think.
Yeah. And I'm also interested in, I've read that you did some work as a probation officer.
Yes, I trained as a probation officer, and I worked for 2 or 3 years in Merseyside, so that was quite different.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough job, that, isn't it, to say the least? And they never get spoken of fondly, do they, probation officers?
No, and I think it's probably getting even harder, because when I was working, which was quite a long time ago, our remit was to assist, advise and befriend. And so we did go in hoping to help and rehabilitate, and with great motives. And I think maybe now it's a lot tougher for probation officers. But for me, it was brilliant, because as a wannabe crime writer,
I was going to say,
you're allowed access to all sorts of different people. You go into homes that you would never otherwise go into. And a lot of my work was writing pre-sentence reports. So if somebody had been found guilty, but the court wanted more information about them before they passed sentence, my job was just to go in and ask lots of very intrusive questions.
And has that formulated characters in your stories?
No, none of my clients have ever appeared in the stories, but I suppose there are bits of background, and it's just about listening to people, I think, and trying to understand why people might be driven to commit the worst crime that there is.
So when you're sitting down, whether it's Vera or Shetland, because essentially both are whodunits, aren't they, at the end of the day? So when you're sitting down to create a new story, how do you do it? And do you think, right, I'll start in this setting, and do you always know who's done it when you start, for example, or not?
I never know who's done it.
Right.
I quite often don't even know who the victim is.
Right.
I think I write a bit like a reader. So I'll write the first chapter, and then I need to know what's going to happen next. So I write the next chapter.
Yeah.
And I carry on like that till about a third of the way through.
Yeah.
And by that time, I've more or less sorted out a rough idea where I'm heading.
Because as you're writing, you think, oh, and then that could happen to them.
Yes, it's all about what if. And I think I've got a good friend who's a senior crime scene investigator.
Yeah.
And she said that her job is all about what if. You look at a scene and you try and work out what might have happened.
See, it's really interesting because we have a number of writers on this programme, and the majority of them, certainly Lee Child told me the same thing about his Jack Reacher books, that he doesn't know, and Patricia Cornwell the same. But when William Boyd was on, he said he spends sometimes up to 2 years planning out a story, and then the third year is writing it.
Yeah, you see, I wouldn't see any fun in that. For a long time, I've been writing for a long time, and for the first 20 years or so, I didn't make very much money, so it had to be fun.
Yes.
So what's the fun if you know how it's going to end?
But if you're literally going chapter by chapter, and we often get asked, by people listening to these interviews, well, I've got a book in me, how do I go about pitching that to an agent? Is it difficult to do that, to pitch to an agent, if you say, well, actually, I write chapter by chapter? Do you have to finish the book and send the complete book?
When you're starting, yes,
right.
You do. I think because you don't know that you can finish it unless you do it. And lots of writers, I think new writers, they start off and they rework the early chapters because they think they've got to be perfect.
Yeah.
And the hard bit actually is getting right to the end. And it's much better to get in and know that it's a bit flawed, but know that you can come back to it.
Yeah.
And the hard bit is reaching the end, getting all the ends tied up.
And getting that 100,000 words down.
Getting that 100,000 words down.
And so would your advice to a new writer be to just get it written and then to send for submission, or to redraft yourself before?
Oh, definitely redraft. You want it to be as good as it can possibly be. And then you need to find an agent. These days I was picked up from the slush pile. I just sent it off to publishers. But that was in the mid-'80s, and it's certainly not like that now. You do need an agent to represent you.
And it's not easy to find.
It's tricky to find an agent, yeah.
And now that you're with the fondness of the phrase, long in the tooth at it, how many drafts do you write?
Well, I'll write more drafts of the beginning than the end because of the way that I do it. I obviously have to go back once I know what's going to happen and who the murderer is.
You have to lay some clues.
Yeah, I try to play fair because I do write very traditional crime fiction.
Yes.
So I will go back and rewrite the beginning more than the end. But I can write 3 or 4 drafts.
And do you have an ultimate litmus test then on the whodunit element of that? Because, like, for example, with the usual suspects, the idea with that film is that once you know who Kaiser Soze is, you can go back and watch the film again and go, oh, that was clue number 1. Oh, that was clue number 2.
I think what I would like my readers to think at the end is, I should have known that.
Yeah.
But I didn't get it. Of course, of course it was them. I should have realised.
Yeah.
And it's that cheap thrill of the surprise ending that I love as a reader.
Yeah. Well, we all do, don't we?
And you can't always pull it off as a writer, but that's what you're aiming for.
You're on a mission to hoodwink.
Yeah, kind of.
Do you ever run it by people? Have you got trust in? I mean, for example, will your husband read it and do you say to him, look, is it too easy to guess this killer, or do I need to make it a bit more easy?
No, the people I send it to first are my agent, and she sends it off to my US agent and to my Scandinavian agent, because those are territories, I guess, that the books do best outside the UK. Right. And then she coordinates feedback, so I'm not getting 3 different sets of notes from 3 different sets of people. And then I will, and because you're so close to a book when you finish it, you do need some fresh eyes on it, because there are things that you see really clearly in your head. Yes. Because you've been living with these people for so long. Yes. That that you forget to tell the reader. And sometimes you need somebody to say, well, I didn't quite get what was going on there. Yeah. And then it goes to my editor, who's very young but very steely, a very good editor.
What's their name?
Catherine Richards.
Yeah. There you go, that's Steely Catherine from now on. And what's your gestation period then? How long will you give yourself from the minute you first sit there with a blank page to submitting to your agent? I do a book a year, but it probably takes me 9 months to write the book. Yeah. Like, as you say, gestation period. Yeah. And are you constantly keeping notes? Ian Rankin came on and he said sometimes he'll think, right, I need to sit and write another book, and he'll go to his desk and he's got a little square of paper and it's got 1 sentence on.
No, I don't write things down because I think once I've written them down, I allow myself to forget about them. And the best books come from ideas that have been knocking around in your head for a while and growing and fermenting and bubbling away.
Yeah.
And those are the ones that work best for me.
That's
Everybody
really,
works differently.
I know, and I find it really fascinating because obviously you're all at the top of your game, and yet you all get there to the end result in a very different way.
Yes, I think so, and I think we all love it, and that's the best bit. You know, what better job than just to tell stories for a living? I still can't believe, I'm sitting there in my pajamas at 6:30 in the morning at my kitchen table thinking, well, yeah, this is work. Well, yeah, is it?
Yeah, of course, yeah. It's never work when you love it, is it? Talking to Ann Cleeves tonight on 5 Live. The latest quick read features Detective Jimmy Perez from the Shetland stories that you'll see on the television, and it's called Too Good to Be True, and that is out now, only £1, and it's 15,000 words. And TV-wise, Shetland is Friday nights, BBC One, so we're just about to hit episode 4 on Friday this week, and episode 3 of the forthcoming Vera ITV1 on Sunday nights at 8 o'clock. When I was growing up and studying, probably like you, Anne, I used to go to the library and do my homework. And I'm not sure nowadays whether I'd need to do that. And I know you're closely affiliated to Libraries Day, which has just happened at the weekend gone. And I wonder what role you feel technology is playing in closing libraries.
I don't think technology is playing any part in closing libraries because libraries are embracing technology, and it's easy to think that every family has a computer, but they don't. And at a time when the government is expecting people to sign on online, lots of the people who do that go to libraries to do it. Libraries also allow you to download books too. There is this idea that because for those of us who can afford them, there's all this access to buying books online. But again, not everybody can afford to do that. And libraries are exciting places. They're places where people get together to share a passion for reading and for books. And I think it's so important that we have that. It's that reading for pleasure thing again. There was a report, the OECD did a report years ago now, which showed that reading for pleasure was a better indicator of academic success than parental income or status. So if we're serious about having equality of opportunity, we need our kids to have access to books that they're going to enjoy. And that's where they go to libraries. And another thing that I think is really important is the sense that by closing libraries we're saving money. That seems really, really short-sighted to me because the creative industries generate £8 million an hour, according to the DCMS's own website. And where do people start being creative with narrative, with story? You take kids along to the library and they're doing rhyme and they're looking at illustrations. And I think we should see libraries as a kind of training ground for all these people who are making lots of money for the country, filmmakers and visual artists and advertisers.
Because it's where you get your first spark of an idea.
It is, and let's, instead of closing them down, let's make them really exciting, artistic hubs. So let's have every library to have a community choir and have a writers group, and lots of them do that. And we should be encouraging it rather
See, I suppose
than...
what I meant by the first question I asked you was, I have really strong memories of, especially around 16, 17, that a few of us would all go to the library and there were desks there that we could work at, and we could use the microfiche machines to scan for certain titles. Then you have to go and find them, and then you have to decide whether any of that book is of any of use to your particular project. And I'm just unsure, and maybe you know better than me, and how many kids of that age are now doing their homework at the library and how many are doing it on iPads or on,
Well, they might still be using computers, but lots of them are using computers at the library.
Right.
And some libraries run homework clubs, because not everybody has a nice quiet space at home to work at. And
so the functionality's still there.
Yeah, absolutely. And the excitement's still there. I can remember going to the library and a librarian pulling out a book from under a desk, and she'd kept it because she knew it was a title that I would enjoy. And it was just like a magician, pulling a rabbit out of a hat. There was this story. and reading it all the way home. And I still see kids who are doing that.
So you're saying really that's where, and especially through things like Libraries Day, the message needs to be louder, does it? That these are educational centres of great resource rather than dormant buildings that people are no longer visiting.
That's right. And if people are no longer visiting them, let's start a campaign to get people inside so they can see what's there. I did an event in a small village in Northumberland, not last night, the night before, and I challenged them because they were complaining about library closures. I challenged them to have 100% of their community as library members. And if every community had 100% library membership, then councillors would soon stop thinking about closing them.
Fascinating talking to you tonight, Anne, and we wish you well with, I know you're heavily involved with libraries in general, and not just Libraries Day that's just gone.
Yeah, no, and the quick reads is part of that as well, I think. It's that passion for reading and getting people